Last time on Lawful Stupid, Paul Barrow and the Cyclone lock horns in the ring.
Hey! That's my bro! Gustivan, my hungry brother, yes!
I see you're still not wearing pants.
I never wear pants. I buy drinks, you make food, we celebrate.
Yeah, and so you guys party. The night goes on, the fires start to be extinguished, and morning comes. And the sun rises, and you guys all begin to wake, and your varying levels of hangovers and pains from the night before. You hear the noise of the wagons as people are putting things up and getting the caravan ready to move.
Do you need your big brother's help?
I'll never say that, and you know that I'll never say that.
I go with you.
Where we end is the almost watercolor-esque picture of all of these caravans slowly pulling out and heading south towards Prenneth. So we pick back up as you guys are departing from New Havenhold, and you guys are in this caravan of the Fool's Lullaby, the traveling entertainment troupe that your brother Paul Barrow happened to be rolling with. So yeah, you guys are traveling, and it's about a 3-day journey. Is there anything you guys particularly want to accomplish between here and Prenneth? Whether that's like a cute little side story or social interaction, hunting, etc., etc.
Yeah, what's the weather like?
Days 1 and 2 are pretty clear. Day 3, it's like sprinkling on and off.
Temperature-wise?
Pretty moderate.
Barometric pressure. What is that?
12.
Okay. If it's you know what? I'll take some creative license. It's a little bit warm. It's a little bit muggy in the jungle.
Perfect.
I'm gonna make some treats for the troop. I'm gonna dry out some fruit, and then I'm gonna take some fruit juice, and I'm gonna use shape water to make that into popsicles and freeze them, and then I'm gonna wrap the popsicles in the dehydrated fruit, which is nature's
Bounty.
No, fruit roll-up. It's nature's fruit roll-up.
Okay.
It's just dried fruit skins, and then I'm gonna wrap that. So I'm gonna wrap that around the popsicles to give your teeth a little something to protect you from the cold popsicle, but a nice fruity treat on this sweltering summer day.
All right, and you do that, and everybody's super appreciative. You have curried favor with the Fool's Lullaby.
They will remember this.
They will remember this, yep. Does anybody else have anything they would like to do?
I think the only cute thing I've got is, like, because we're such in a big caravan this time, I think Darling would trot alongside the caravan in, like, her fox form. Just kind of, like, nose her way into things, like, along the path. Just because it'd be fun to just be naturally me that way.
It should be noted that across these 3 days of travel, because you're in a bigger caravan, you're making more noise. The troop actually has people that defend the caravan as you guys are traveling, and they've had to put down a few monsters. Nothing crazy, but certainly things that have tried to like pick off pieces of the caravan or steal from the caravan quickly. So just know that there is that level of danger that is happening. But you guys, since you're in the caravan, you're not having to deal with that.
I would like to maybe come see what's up after maybe a monster slaying. See if there's some monster bits around for your favorite chef boy.
Are there any small ones like mice that I could have like bitten as a fox form? Get rid of?
Yeah, absolutely. You can do that.
You're a champion mouser.
Yes.
Yeah, so, Darlin, you're able to find some tiny little critters, some mice, be a champion of the caravan. And
proudly
then,
present to Gus.
Whoa. You did it, Sprout.
I got many.
You nommed.
Gus, do me a favor and roll percentage dice for me, please.
You got it, my guy. How you feel about a little 87?
Alright, well, what did I say with an 87? You can have 4 servings of the shunter's meat, and then a dozen servings of the blue-eyed Sylvie.
Blue-eyed Sylvie! Hooray!
And I imagine that as they're like getting popped by the guards, that Darlin is the one who's like grabbing the blue-eyed Sylvie and then dragging them to you, kind of like a hunting fox.
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah, nuggies for all.
Nuggies for everyone. Paul Barrow, is there anything you'd like to do before we move along this journey?
Barbaro is just telling stories of his victories from all over the lands. Just different places he's been.
Got one of those queued up, or you just wanted everyone to know you're a storyteller?
we can try this right now. There was this one time in the bowels of Yuri. There I was standing across from giant rhino. He figured horn be dangerous to me. I let him get close enough to taste the sweet, sweet stench of me. And I wrapped him in chokehold, wrapped around his big belly and punch, punch, punch. Until he no awake. He asleep long time and I victor. Town throw me big meal and lots of party and lots of drinking. No family, but still fun. You were not there, but you hear it now. It's same.
And Gus, I think you're around for this, and one of the other troop leans over and goes, it didn't quite happen just like that. Like, all those things are true, but it was not quite the sweeping win that Paul Barrow wants you to think.
But a win is a win. I hear you say this thing.
You seem kind of like...
Sometimes when you're telling a story, exaggeration's like a little spice, you know? Just a little bit too much overwhelming. Nobody likes that.
Small embellish, delicious story, yes?
Small little story. Yeah, spicy story, bro.
So, rolling the clock forward on the second day, about in the afternoon, everybody roll me a perception check.
23 for Darling.
Darling. I see and hear all. I know your futures. You'll have 2 daughters.
Gus got a 16.
It's that storytelling.
Yeah. Polbaro got 14.
Darling, with a 23, you notice. So this travel, this path from New Havenhold to Prentice is largely in like wooded area. Near the end is when there's some like plains on the third day that you're kind of crossing, like fields and hills. But for the most part, it's trees, right? Almost jungle-esque, but not quite. And, you know, you guys have made this trip a few times. I believe, or maybe just once. But I will say that you did not, you didn't notice a lot of flying monsters, right? A lot of flying creatures. But you both hear and then see the scattering of these smaller reptilian-looking flying creatures bolt the opposite direction that you guys are headed. And they're like flying over.
I will point that out. You just point to the birds that are flying away. Well, I look, they are leaving. There's probably something dangerous ahead.
Huh. Well, I'm sure like the hunter dudes know about it.
And it's not long after that you guys hear an explosion. And it like rattles your caravan or your wagon that you're on.
Hey, anybody ever notice how like every time we travel by caravan, shit blows up?
This celebration for Podbaro. They know I'm in area. Let us go check it out.
Okay. Hell yeah.
And I think as he gets down off the wagon, it sort of shakes a little bit. His heavy frame descending from it, much like Gus probably does as well. And I'm going to take a look out. Do I see, like, I don't know if this road is a straight road or is it curved to left or right?
It's a little curved, but Avon with Darling with a 23, you can ascertain from that explosion that it was not ground level ahead of you. That it felt like it came from above.
An above explosion?
An above explosion.
I don't know how to... It wasn't a ground impact? I have no idea what is going on up there. Be careful if you're going to go up ahead.
And so the caravan stops when that explosion happens, right? Like, it's a full stop. And different people are chatting and like, hey, what was that? Did you guys hear that? Did anybody see anything? And you can just tell that it's a full stop. Everybody's trying to figure out what to do next.
Gustavo.
Yeah, what's up, man?
This thing appears to be a bad thing. Agreed?
Yeah.
Party time? We go check it out.
You can see, yeah. I can see what's up.
Like old times, let's do this thing. Tiny Dancer, you follow?
I can check my chart.
You have a chart?
Yeah, let me show you. It's basically just, it's a chart that says nom or be nommed, and it's like a sliding scale. And it's how scary is the monster?
Okay.
If it's this scary, it noms you. If it's less than that scary, you nom it.
This is very long research. I agree with it.
And I've got little like doodles of the monsters we fought so far and where they fall on the scale.
Why you cook? Look at your skills as artist. You cheat yourself.
Well, sometimes I do draw up a little, kitchen schematics.
I like to think that they're little cartoon sketches, not like realistic
They're, like,
sketches.
absolutely.
Like they would make great stickers, like almost like in crayon.
Well, it's like he draws it. It's like, is that a cow or a dog? It's a shunter.
Yeah, it's a shunter.
Yeah. Yeah, we can go check it out, man, for sure. Let me,
Seems like, and I'm looking at your scale, we might be numbed with this thing. Maybe.
Oh, then we ban.
Quiet. Tiny Dancer.
I can scout ahead.
I can also shift and give it a pretty thorough sniffing before we even get close to it.
I can do none of these things.
As you're discussing these, you start to hear the breaking of wood, the cracking of tree and limbs forward to the south of you, which would be towards Prentice.
Hey, hunters, you're gonna want to get up here. Non-hunters, you're gonna want to circle the wagons.
And you see that the guards that are kind of sitting atop these different wagons, posted up with their bows and crossbows, they're at attention. they're looking for the next thing to come through. But that noise, that crushing sound, and the cracking of wood, that sounds pretty far ahead right now.
Okay.
I think I'd like to climb a tree. I think I want to try that.
Okay.
While he does that, I am going to shift and give us a sniff as well.
Okay.
The old shift.
I assume you don't have climbing speed, so...
I just figured since I was a bear, I could do what I want.
So what I'll say is you can roll an athletics.
Okay.
And you can do it either way because you're a giant bear, but the athletics will determine how fast you're able to make it up the tree.
I like it. Dadgummit. What is the rules on grappling a thing and climbing it? Can I grapple the tree and then just like really...
Only for creatures that are 2 size categories larger than you, I'm afraid.
Let's get down.
Yeah, sorry, it doesn't affect trees. But
Okay.
yeah, you start heading
It's a
up.
13.
You're making a
Okay.
decent pace, but you're not like zooming up. Gustum, you shift, and you're going to use which sense?
I'm going to use my my nose, my sniffer.
Okay. Yeah, go for it. Roll.
It's a dirty 20.
Okay. You know the smell. It is very familiar to you. It is it's not something I say very familiar. It's not something like you are well versed in the sense like you're an expert, right? But you've smelled it before. And what you know is it is the smell of almost like burnt Tortex, which if you remember, Tortex is that technology where they use like the torrent and it's a newer technology in like crystals and a little steampunk-esque. You smell that type of technology burning. It's like a burnt smell. It's not quite electric. If you've ever smelled like electric wires that burn
Like
near
ozone?
the sea. No. If you've ever, no. If you've ever been like at the beach or something, or in like a shitty hotel room, they'll have like TVs that'll end up smoking because like all the salt in the air.
I've not experienced that. It's gnarly.
The cheap places, obviously. But that smell, the combination of like wire burning and sea salt in the air, is kind of what that smells like.
Does it smell natural? Or do
No.
I think this is like machine made?
You think this is machine made, 100%.
Yeah, I'll just kind of shout on my shoulder like, whatever it is, it ain't natural.
Paul Barrow, you're able to make it up to the top of the tree, and as you do, you can see you can't see anything above the trees, but what you can see is trees like breaking and kind of falling to the side, heading towards you guys, but still a decent distance out, a couple hundred yards at least. So you don't, it's not like it's right on top of you, but you can see these trees that are just kind of splitting left and right as almost like something really large is moving through them. And this whole time you're hearing the crushing and cracking of trees and falling of trees as this thing is powering through.
Is it like adjacent to the road, like parallel to the road, like just kind of following a track along, or is it like beeline in our direction, or does it look like it may go in a different direction?
It's not even beeline directly at you. If you were to look at it, it's kind of like coming from in front of you and to your right and cutting across. So like it would actually cut across you guys, and you I mean, you don't know if it's going to hit you or not, but it doesn't look like it would necessarily hit your caravan or run into your caravan, but it is heading your direction. But it's not beelining towards you.
Perfect. Slide back down and say, this thing, it may not hit us directly. Perhaps we hide and wait and see what this is. I don't think it's here for us.
I'll go scout ahead just in case. You give us some time.
I was going to take up a defensive position on the Panda Express, on the sauce cannon.
Yeah, all right. So you set up a defensive position, and Darlin, you head forward. Darlin, how far do you go until you're like looking for something? Like, what is your safety check? Because I don't want to assume that for you. A couple 100 yards, half a mile. What does that look like?
Probably a few 100 yards, I guess. Just like if I see a tree starting to fall down in the distance, then I need to like start slowing down.
Yeah. So you go about 300 yards, 400 yards, and as you're getting close, you're hearing like a whirring noise and like screeching and shouting, and then you hear a loud crash, and it shakes the ground. And honestly, the people of the caravan, it shakes the ground as well near you, and then it's followed up by more explosions. And Darlin, you can see from where you are in the distance that there's like fires kind of like in the trees, in the middle of the trees.
Oh, they're probably clearing a road or something.
Just real work.
Does it look like uncontrolled fires, or because it's kind of like slightly damp and muggy, it's not like being crazy?
I would not say it is like a wildfire where it's rapidly spreading, but you can see fire. Like I said, in the middle of the trees, like it's almost like the fire started at the middle of the trees from where you can see it. Not at the bottom, not at the top. It's like the flames started in the middle of the trees.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Can I get up closer to see the people shouting?
Yeah, I mean, you can approach that as close as you want to get.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna just keep on going. Make sure they're not like, bounty hunters or after other people, or if they're just like working, like I said, on a rotor.
Yeah, just you keep following the path and the road that you would have naturally taken until it doesn't make sense anymore, because the fires are starting to get bigger and you can kind of see that it's off the road. It's not quite on the road where it is, so you have to go off the path a little bit. But as you approach, we'll say 150 yards, give or take. You don't want to get too close right off the bat. Mm-hmm. You see... you've been around. You see what can only be described as an airship. And the airship has crashed into the ground, and you can hear shouting and fighting as these monsters, these big winged monsters, are attacking this airship, and the people aboard are trying to fend off.
Cool. I'm very far from my brothers.
Very.
Very far.
I would like to shift into fox form and run all the way back. That's 40 feet.
Yeah, what's your... Yeah, 40 feet. So you bolt it. But you are very far away. So it does take you a good chunk of time to get there. But you get there, you're panting. What do you say? What do you do?
Airship down, big birds attacking the people.
Well, anybody who's not a coward, let's go. May, you stay here. Don't even fucking leave this car. You stay right here.
She puts her gun back down. Okay.
You're on the sauce cannon. You protect the women and children.
She says, okay, and climbs up to the sauce cannon. Bring him to me.
I'm no coward. We run.
Yeah, and so you guys do. You start heading that way, and
any of the guards coming with us?
3 or 4 of the guards from the front, they detach off. You can see them like communicating, and some from the back head up to, because they're not going to leave the caravan unprotected. But 3 or 4 of them with crossbows are like right behind you guys, and then 2 more of like the what Paul Barrow would know as like the wrestling people. They're like, I'm not gonna miss a fight, and just running full. Granted, Frank, not on board. You hear Frank going, I got it. I'll cover people back here, guys.
Hell yeah, Frank.
And you hear Toa, get him, guys. I'll protect me.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah, so you guys rush forward.
I'll lead them the way I went.
Yeah, so it's mostly down the road and off to the side a little bit. And as you guys get there, to paint the scene, one, we're not going into standard combat, so let's scratch that. To paint the scene here, there's this airship that is now, not functional. It's crashed into the ground, and the rear of the airship is elevated, right? And that's where part of these fires are around the engines. And so the engines are up in the air. The front is kind of broken in. So the front is a little level, and then the other part is sticking up. And there's these fires, and it's starting to spread onto the trees. But like I said, it's not like, oof. It's just eventually fire will spread. And so you can see that there's these people on the board. Aboard, and they are trying to fend off these flying creatures. And these flying creatures, they almost look like gargoyles covered in what I can only describe as like reptilian scales. So they're pretty big monsters, and there's about a dozen of them at different parts of the ship, fighting off this, like, and it's a big group of people. You can see there's probably a dozen and a half fighting still, but from where you're standing, you can see that they have lost a chunk of their crew, a good chunk of their crew. What do you do?
We're not in combat.
We are not going to do combat. We are going to do a narrative combat. I haven't used that in a minute, so we're gonna bring that back around to the front and center. So we will do that. And if you need a refresher, because it's been a second, that is the mindset where everybody gets a turn in the same turn. So all of you guys decide what you want to do. We'll roll for effects. And that's kind of how that works. It's not like back and forth, because the effects are essentially the consequences from your rolls. So if you need a second to go get your heart, find those scores again, especially for you, Devin.
Yeah. Does anybody have that offhand, like which ones to add up?
Looking for it now, because I know I have it.
I had it once upon a time with Kato. That was so many characters ago.
I think I need to update mine because we have leveled up.
We have leveled up a couple times since we last used narrative combat.
Yep. All right. Who needs the formulas?
Or do?
I think all of us.
All right. Okay, then we'll just go back through this. If you've already heard this or you happen to remember it, just skip ahead like 30 seconds or listen. Up to you. Who knows what we'll fucking say. All right, so your body score is determined how physically fit your character is. So that's going to be it's going to be your strength ability score modifier or your dexterity modifier, whichever is higher. And then with your constitution, then divide the total by 2. So strength or dexterity plus constitution divided by 2.
You round down.
You round down, yeah. We're traditionally in D&D. All right. And mind is going to be your intelligence and your wisdom together divided by 2. And then heart is going to be wisdom, charisma, and wisdom together. And then again, those are divided by 2.
What's the minimum you're allowed to have? 0?
1.
No, you can go negative.
What? No, it says...
No, I'm sorry. 1 or less is always 1. I'm sorry. Correct.
Oh, wasn't there a
1
bracket?
is your minimum.
Yeah, there's a bracket. So 1 or less equals 1. 2 to 4 is a 2. 5 or greater is a 3.
Yes. Sorry. That's how you translate that.
Wunderbar.
Perfect.
Well, that was easy to figure.
According to narrative combat, there is a friend's turn and a foe's turn, but we may not necessarily need the foe's turn if your consequences make enough sense, because there's a lot of moving parts, and I don't want to bog it down. But
I know what I'd like to do.
All right, you're first up then.
I would like to cast Major Image, and I'd like to make the big, scary, exploding butt monster that we've fought before. I don't remember the name of it.
Whose butt we blew up? The Aegisaur?
Yeah. The Aegisaurus, yeah.
Yeah, Aegisaurus.
That one's butt we blew up.
And what spell did you say you were casting?
Major Image.
Major Image. Good. I was like, this guy's going to be tiny. Nope. Yeah, you're able to do that. Where do you cast it at?
I need it close by to come out the trees, and I need it to, walk and be terrifying. Because this is the one that I can make move, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make it look natural with that one. Alright, so with that, I'm going to say that's going to be mined because you're using your spell casting. Mm-hmm. So what I need you to do is roll a d6, and then the table will decide what you want to do. Oh, I have to tell you a difficulty. Hold on. But your goal is to create this Aegisaur image, and you're attempting to scare off some of these monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your goal?
That is my goal, scare off the monsters, but can I also yell at the same time for the people? Definitely magic. Because I might panic them too. Shout that. Yeah. Alright, so you are going to go ahead and roll a d6. So d6 plus my mind score. That'll be a 2.
So you rolled a 2?
I rolled a 1 plus my mind score will be a 2.
Okay. So you rolled a 1. On any unmodified roll of a 1, the d6 will result in a critical failure, which means you don't succeed in what you're trying to do. And you'll face some sort of consequence. So that's what the rules say. There's critical success and failures.
One thing I do want to mention here is that you have an option now, Abon, to do a heroic action, and it kind of makes sense narratively because you are already using a class currency in the form of a spell. So you can burn that spell slot, and then you can re-roll.
Yep. Yeah, because I wasn't going to make you use up the spell slot for the narrative combat, unless it was like a giant spell. But if you're going to use it for the heroic action,
then I will do that.
All right, so you burn up your spell slot.
That's a 2. It's for a 3.
So you rolled a 2. So for a 3, that's better. That's succeed at a cost. Yeah, so I think you step forward a little bit and you shout out, it's magic. And then this giant Aegisaur kind of appears from the woods, and it starts to roar and make noise. And a couple of those flying monsters kind of move to the other side to make some distance, and then one kind of rushes towards that thing, and that one who actually has got balls on him, he rushes through into the image and like lands through it right in front of you and starts to snarl. He doesn't attack you or anything like that, but your cost is you've got an immediate threat right in front of you. And it didn't quite work exactly how you wanted to, but they are now all on the opposite side, giving the crew an opportunity to reform instead of just getting hit from all sides.
Okay, cool.
Paul Barrow or Gustum?
I've got to move. I've got a spell here called Earthbind. So choose one creature you see within range. Yellow strips of magical energy loop around the creature. The target is basically bound to the ground. Any airborne creature affected by the spell can't fly anymore. So I'm going to try to ground one of these suckers so that the wrestlers can get it.
Do you want to ground the one directly in front of Darling, or one of the ones flying?
Yeah, let's do that. I'll bind the one that's already in front of Darling, so that that threat can't just fly away when we address it.
So, Darling, it is a success because you burnt a spell slot. And what I will say is that they moved to the other side, and actually, it's enough that a couple of the smaller looking guys, they bolt. They fly away. They're like, nah, I'm not fucking with Aegisaurus. I sort of put in my arm in somebody's butthole. You can't fuck with this.
I saw a guy put a thing in
I
his
saw a
butthole
guy
once.
do this once. No, they don't talk, but they bounce. Like, two of them bounce. So, knowing that success that Darling had, Gus, would you still like to do that?
Is there one of these suckers that looks like bigger and badder than the others? Maybe an alpha or a pack leader?
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and target that one with Earthbind, and try to just boop him down to the ground so that the wrestlers can get to him.
Yeah, so it is on the other side of the ship, which isn't anything other than, like, it'll take the wrestlers a minute to get there, but the crew will obviously see it and take advantage. So with an impact like that, all right, high, medium, or
Low
I guess low. Yeah, I should have put a chart in here.
Next
just
time.
to make
You
it
also have
easier
to-
when you're
just
skimming.
as a note before we get to it, because it's not on the pub yet, we did tweak it so that 1 to 2 was fail with cost, 3 to 5 was succeed at a cost, and 6 or greater was succeeded at a cost.
I did not remember that. Shit. Right.
Because it was a little bit wonky in terms of people were succeeding with no cost too much.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. 3 to 5. I'll have to adjust that. All right. Cool. All right. Yeah. So now that we've established that, the impact here, I would say is medium, because if you can get him to be down successfully with no, now it's going to be like a bum rush, right? The crew will have an opportunity to attack this big guy or pick up the little ones. And of course, the wrestlers are going to want to rush in and get involved really quick.
Sick.
So knowing that, is that still what you'd like to do?
That is still what I would like to do.
Okay.
I would argue, because these are flying creatures and I'm hitting them with like a spell that specifically they're weak to, could I maybe get advantage on this?
I'm gonna say no, but I am
Fair
gonna
enough.
say your impact, if you succeed, you're gonna have a greater effect, because that is literally meant to target. So you will have advantage on your
So
attempt.
it's a high impact, but no.
Oh, sorry, high impact. What is is there a difficulty that I'm supposed to tell you?
So basically, that's your job as the DM. So you're there to interpret the narrative scene, what the action is doing, and how impactful it'll be. So you might say like, oh,
Gotcha.
If you cast a lightning spell at a guy who's in a pool of water, that's obviously going to be
So
a high
let me
impact.
rephrase then, with that clarity. No, I will not give you advantage, but I will move your medium impact up to high impact.
Very cool. Let me go ahead and roll. Is it going to be a mind, yeah? Because I'm using the spell.
Yes, it's going to be mind.
5 on the die plus 2 is a 7.
Yeah, so that's succeed at no cost. So you see this bigger looking gargoyle. It's kind of on one of the I wouldn't call it a wing, but it's basically a wing. On the side of the ship. It's not big enough that you would call it a wing, but it's a fin of some kind for aerodynamics, and you see it there, and it's heading like in this on all fours with its wings towards one of the crew members fighting, and these vines kind of travel up the side of this airship, and then as he's like about to go over the ledge, they just grab him, and you see him. They don't just straight up like drop him face first, but they run up and grab his wings and pull him back. I started moving backwards and my mic got quiet. They pull him back, and so he's essentially immobile. It's not that he can't fly. He's just having trouble moving away from these vines. He's doing his best not to be pulled down all the way to the ground. And with that, I don't know that the wrestlers would rush that far forward for that guy. But the crew, you hear a shouting. You can't really determine what they're saying, but it's almost like a roar of "get 'em" kind of thing. And from your distance, you can see the crew heading towards that gargoyle to attack, but you can't really see what's happening yet. Paul Barrow,
can I use this vine that has been pulled from the ground, right? And it's traveling up the side.
No, you're on the other side. It's on the other side of the ship. So imagine you guys are still pretty far out. I would clock you at like 200 feet, maybe a little bit less, because you have to imagine this battlefield that we're in is big, because you've got this big airship. It's not like a car size. Liken it to like a yacht, the size of a yacht.
Dang. Okay. And I'm 200 yards out.
What if we wombo
200 feet
our,
out.
200 feet out.
Can we wombo just to get Devin there? Like say the roots erupted from like my feet, and Paul Bear just grabs one so that he can like shoot over there.
I will trade you that, because I don't want to undo your turn, because I liked it, but I will trade you getting Paul Barrow there for the effectiveness of the vines. So, in the sense that
drop it to a moderate.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean that like when the crew jumps to attack, he's able to defend himself more versus being open and vulnerable to their combined attack.
He's less restricted.
Yeah, he can't fly, but he can move. He can still fight. Where before he was struggling just to not go to the ground.
Okay. I'll make that deal. All right. Does
Deal made.
Still get a turn?
Yeah, of course.
Hell
You're essentially launched up into the air, and there's a vine that you can grab.
Hell yeah.
So I'm running and I'm launched, and I want to be able to grab. Here's what I want to do, though.
Okay, tell me.
I just want to be able to grab on to the legs if they're close enough to of the gargoyle creatures, or just one.
Okay, well you got to tell me what you want to do.
So I want to do that. That's what I want to grab two if there's close enough.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you could try.
And that's obviously a strength thing. Like I'm doing it to hang on. Nails are going to be gripped into the skin.
Okay. Yeah, so that's going to definitely be a body, and I'm going to tell you I will be upfront with you. If you try to grab two at once for, I'm assuming like clap them together eventually, that's going to be
I don't have any intent after I grab him. I'm not sure. That's going to be up to you. I am just at this point. It's just like I don't know how much they can hold. We're about to find out.
So Dwayne, what I sense from you right now is like an instinct as a DM to like want to set this as a high difficulty. and I want you to know that the tool that I built in for that is you can stack disadvantages. So
gotcha, because I was looking at low impact because how successful an action is.
Well, so this action, if he pulls it off, will be very successful.
Would be very successful.
It would be a moderate or a high impact.
Okay,
but
all right,
I'm with you. It's going to be very difficult to do, so you give him disadvantages.
Yep, I'm with that. So, Polbaro, what I will tell you is if you would like to jump for that and try to get 2, you will roll with disadvantage. If you just want to try and get 1, then you can roll normally. It's going to be, I would say, medium impact either way, because even if you get 2 of them, you're going to be hard pressed to take control of that situation all on your own. But we can talk about what happens. So what do you want to do? 2 or 1?
Believe in me. He is going to go for 2. I will take the disadvantage.
All right, so roll 2d6.
All right, the lowest is a 2 plus a 3 for a 5.
All right, so that puts you at succeed at a cost. So yeah, you're like flying through the air, and you catch 2 of these as they're like moving from the side, kind of up towards the middle. Like they don't want to go to the side that the rest of your team is on because they still see that Aegisaur, and they're not interested in being near that. But they're kind of coming up to try and like flank back down immediately on them. And as they do, you're able to grab both of their tails.
Yeesh.
And you hear like a yelping, and all 3 of you crash down into the middle of the deck. And so you're laying on your back and you've got both their tails in your hands, and you're hearing their screeching and screaming as they scramble towards you. And then the crew is now confused because there's a giant fucking bear and 2 of these things just landed next to them. And there's fire everywhere near the end of the ship because you're kind of up on the higher end. And so that's going to be your situation.
Okay.
So you've grounded 2 of them in your hands, but you're now also in the middle of the fray with 2 of those right next to you.
That ends my turn.
This is where I want to be. And I'm going to say that it's up to you guys to, during your turns, take advantage of the wrestlers and the 3 guards you have. I'm not going to control them. I will say they are steadily advancing forward, so they're getting closer to the fight. So you're able to use them better next turn. Because of your actions and their success and succeeds, I'm going to take a turn for the Gargoyle Boys. Fear. So I think in response to the big bad boy, I'm gonna exploit those gargoyles. In response to the big bad boy being like restrained, you see 3 or 4 of these gargoyle things kind of like pull rank together because they're kind of spread out aside that one side because, like I said, it's a pretty big ship and they're trying to fight these guys. You see 2 or 3 of these pull rank and they go to assist the big guy, and so they're going to use body, right, because it's a physical result.
Yeah, so it's everything in narrative combat is like saving throws. So you're basically, based on whatever you're doing, the people that it's impacting are going to make like a body check to see if they get wailed on or not.
The people it's impacting are going to make the body check.
So like if the gargoyle is attacking the guard, I'm sorry, I was in the rules when you were setting up.
No, I appreciate it. The gargoyles are like attacking. They're doing their action is 2 things. One is what they're trying to free their boss's wings, and the other is to distract the crew that's right up on the boss while they're doing that. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm doing them as one turn, not each individual guys.
So what we do here is You're just going to say, hey, these gargoyles are collectively just going to do a thing. So you can say they're going to free their mom. That's just a reasonable thing that they could do under combat. It's not really a role required for that. But if they're attacking somebody to do damage to them, if they're attacking bodily, they'll make a body check. If they're attacking with a spell or whatever, they could do mind.
Well, I agree, but I also felt that because you used your turn to bind him, they needed to do a check collectively. So it's both protecting the gargoyles who are freeing the vines and a difficulty check to some degree, because that otherwise it's like, that's pretty cheesy just to be like, oh yeah, and they undo the thing you spent your entire turn on.
Well, I'm one guy, and if my one turn makes all the other little minion gargoyles take their turn freeing Mama, that's a good turn in narrative combat. I forced a stalemate.
Yeah. But it's not just like it's just 3 or 4. The others are still fighting.
I feel you.
The crew, and if I haven't made this clear, the crew is losing, like at a standard rate, right? Like they've already lost a chunk of people. So that's why their turn is really about distracting and freeing the person who's doing damage. So yeah, they just need to roll a body roll. D6. And they're gonna roll 3 and modifiers 2, so that puts them at 5. So they do succeed at a cost. And so that they are able to free the big gargoyle that you tied down. But you hear the shout of this the shout from a female, and she says converge on them now while they're distracted. And you see like 4 or 5 of these crew members follow this woman, and they are able to take down the 2 gargoyles that were trying to distract them. They just essentially mob on them, and so the cost is 2 gargoyles. But Mama Bear, it's not a female, but the patriarch, the pack leader, is pissed and free, and you hear it roar. So we're gonna go back to you guys. What do you want to do?
My goal is to close the distance and try to aid the injured.
Okay.
I know I'm pretty far out though, so I might just have to close the distance this turn.
I mean, you could close the distance. Like I said, I imagine in this whole thing, as you guys are moving forward as things are occurring.
That makes sense.
I think closing the distance is easily a part of your action without consuming the entire thing.
Yeah, I want to go, and all the folks that are like injured, wounded, I want to try to heal as many of them as possible by like gathering them up and using a healing spirit.
Okay, I will give you a choice on where you want to do that, right? Because the bottom level that's a little more level, which would be the front of the ship, because again it cracked in 2, that's got more injured people, but there's less gargoyles down there. The top half that's a little at a slant where Paul Barrow is, with those 2 gargoyles that he pulled down, there's less individually injured, like down people. When I say that, like when I say injured, I'm thinking people that are downed, not people that are injured and still fighting.
I know about the people that are out of the fight.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So up top, there's less of them, but there's more gargoyles. Down bottom, there's more injured crew that are downed and less of these gargoyle monsters.
Can I go ahead, and this is kind of directed towards the team as well. Do you guys mind if I use the wrestlers? If I like holler at them to be like, hey, go get the guys up top that are wounded and like there's a lot of monsters up there. Go help them out. Bring the most triage them. Bring them to me. And then I'll go the low road and with the less monsters but more wounded, and try to impact there.
Sounds good.
Go there.
Cool. I'll do that then.
So I'm gonna say this is heart. And the reason I say that is because not only are you using your magic to heal, you are using your compassion to heal people and command other people to, hey, go get the injured. So I think this is heart. And I'm going to say your impact, I'm going to say it's going to be medium impact, not necessarily high, not necessarily low. Right there in the middle, just right.
I have two things. One, I'm going to plead for advantage because I did use the resource of the wrestlers. Could that work into an advantage here?
Let me hear your second thing.
My second thing is I want to use a heroic action to go ahead and burn a spell slot to increase the impact to a high. Now, if I roll and it's dub ones, I just fail and I don't get the resource back.
Yeah, but doesn't a heroic action make it a success? No. Oh, right. You're just choosing to increase the impact. Yeah. My bad. I will say, yes, you can, of course, do the impact thing. I'm a little wonky on the advantage for using the wrestlers when I handed you a resource to use.
That's fair.
I think the wrestlers are the only reason it's a medium impact, honestly, because now you're impacting pretty much all the downed people if you succeed.
That's kind of what I was. That's what I was aiming for an impact. But if you think that affects the impact more than it does my odds of success, then that is super fair. I'm still gonna do it. I'm gonna roll it all on one die.
Yeah. So roll.
I got a 2 + 2 is a 4.
Okay. Good. So that's a succeed at a cost, but it's going to be high impact. And so you see Gus like bolting, and you hear the sound of roaring flames and monsters, and amongst this chaotic battlefield, you hear the very real and very loud clanging of pots and pans as Gustum is charging full speed and like climbing up this. I mean, because it's a giant ship, right? You have to climb up there and clank, clank, clank. And so you're climbing up there, and these wrestlers are like ahead of you, and they're heading on the other side, and they're just like moving up there, and they're excited, right? They are just like, get me into the fight. And in fact, I think they shout at Paul Barra as they're running by, you got 2 of them! And they're like grabbing bodies and pulling them. Probably not as careful as they should be, but they are excited, and they're like rushing down. And Gustum, you're able to get up your fountain of healing and gather people together. It's not a fountain of healing. That's 100%.
It's a healing spirit, but
healing
mine,
spirit.
Of course, is a big bubbling pot of soup. As I just ladle healing soup into these guys' mouths.
And so yeah, with that, your success is indeed that, and I would say about half of these people, 6 or 7 people, are starting to like regain their ability to get back into the fight, and you have saved the other 6 or 7 people's life because they were on death's door. Some of them had like giant gashes. Like the ones that the wrestlers brought down were almost corpses essentially, and you brought them back from death's door. The impact, the cost that you're going to have is you have drawn the undivided attention of the patriarch. The smell of the soup and the hurrah of people as they're like, yeah, all right, we're making a difference.
Nerds.
There is you have attracted the attention.
Okay.
Darling and Paul Barrow. Who's next?
I want to do something simple, but I need to know. I would like the ones I'm holding. I would like to tie their tails together to essentially they're going to be fighting each other.
Yeah.
I want to try to remove them from battle. I don't want to do anything else other than that. That's what I want to do. Now, I don't know the anatomy of these creatures, but that's my goal.
Yeah, I mean, their tails aren't like vine-like. You're thinking almost like
are they short stubs
like
or are they a little
monkey
thinner
tails?
and longer?
No, they're longer. Think of you can do it. It's just not going to be quite. It's not going to be quite the monkey tail you're imagining. Think of it, you're kind of wrapping like almost like dog tails and tying them, and they're covered in scales. Like lizard tails is a good example, Zebra. So you're going to hear some crunching of things as you do this, but it'll be pretty doable. I'm going to say the impact... this is hard, Shane, because to me that's low impact because you're taking two people out of the fight. All right.
So
as long as
it really depends on what the scene is. If 2 gargoyles is just a drop in the bucket, I don't know how many gargoyles are on the scene right now.
A couple left already, right? And then
there's a couple left, and so that leaves about 10. One of them being the patriarch.
I'd say it's a low impact, but you taking 2 out of the fight's a good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I don't want to impact.
Yes, exactly. I don't want to like discourage you from that by saying it's low impact.
I'm still doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's
a
obviously
really cool
body
thing that you set up to do in the fight, and it might not swing the entire momentum of the fight, but it's a really cool thing you're doing.
Yeah. All right. So that's a body check.
Oh yeah, 6s, d6s. Gotta get used to that. That's a 5.
5 with your modifier?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so that's going to be a success at a cost. And so, yeah, man, you kind of like stand up as they're trying to get their bearings, and you kind of pull them together a little bit closer, and you hear like this screeching and whining, and you hear crunching of ligament, scales as you're tying them together, and you just nice hard knot. As you do that, they turn on you and attack you before they start fighting each other to get their tails off. So you are going to take some damage. You can't just tie 2 people's tails together and not expect to take some damage.
Mama always said.
Yep.
Can't tie 2 lizard tails together and expect to get away.
You are going to take 13 slashing damage as they claw at you.
Loves it.
In turn.
And then they start fighting themselves, trying to get their tails untied. Darling.
And then for movement purposes, I didn't move. I would like to just be making my way toward the larger gargoyle too. After I've taken a bit.
So are you dragging them by your tail?
No,
you're just leaving them. Like fuck it.
Leaving them to do
Yes.
out.
Okay. Yeah. So you're climbing. You're like walking at an angle or climbing essentially towards the captain, or not the captain. Yeah, I'll give it away. The captain, the female, and then some of the other crew members.
Okay. Great.
Be careful, these lizards hold rank.
Well, I still have my giant illusion. It wasn't knocked out the fight yet.
Correct. It's still there, and it's still providing the fear, which is keeping all these gargoyles, for the most part, in one area of the ship.
My skill is in acting and dancing, and I'm sure Darling can puppeteer this monster as much as she wants to. I want to continue pressing forward to either scare them away or kite them away from the majority of people. And I just need this thing to like T-Rex stomp and roar and just like get these gargoyle things out of here.
Yeah, you basically essentially want to press what you've already done, right? Try to scare them more, try to push them away, right?
I love the image of Darling running with like a little paper doll Aegisaur going like
Yep, and you've got this big one just mimicking. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm trying to keep my distance. Like I'll move it forward as I go forward, but I'm not climbing on top of that ship. I'm going to be trying to like,
no one thought you were. You're like way on the ground from this ship. Yeah.
crouch down behind a tree.
Yeah,
Basically, yeah.
I think that's mine still because you're manipulating your spell, trying to push your spell forward. I will say that's going to be low impact because you're either going to be able to scare off a couple, or you're not going to be able to do too much because eventually it's going to get close enough that it has to touch them to scare them even further, right? Because like once one gets eaten, then you might have a bigger thing. But so low impact if you succeed.
Okay. That's all I got for right now because this is a tool she has brought out to play
That's
with.
fine. So mind it is.
I got a 6.
Yay.
Plus mine
You rolled a
will be
6?
7. Yeah.
Yeah, a 6 is a critical success. So with that,
Should bump the
I think
impact one.
what?
I think it bumps the impact one, right? I'm sorry.
It does.
I'm going through the rules right now.
Yeah, a critical success is a success, and I believe, at least what I thought I read, is that it bumps up the impact. Hold on. You succeed categorically. They do exist. Results, which means you're doing, will have faced some sort of consequence. But if you are successful, then you are going to succeed without a cost and one category higher. Yep. Yeah. I had thought I said that until you started like agreeing with me, and I was like, I should probably reread. So yeah, this monster charges forward. I think it goes around and essentially puts its 2 feet up against the airship that is like the back of the airship that's tilted, and it's almost like it's gonna eat them or bite them, and roaring. And that's enough to get 2 or 3 of these that are close to bounce. I'll even say it's 3, leaving 5 of these guys left, starting to get outnumbered, along with the 2 that are tied up. So 7 total, but their numbers are dwindling as Darlin is scaring them off.
Perfect.
So pretty impactful. And so it's over to the Gargoyle Boys, and this alpha looks dead at you, Gus, and you're a soup pot, and you hear a low guttural roar, and that's where we're gonna end this episode.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Yep. All right. Shane, it is your job, it is your duty, it is your honor to do our roll for humanity. And that said, take it away.
Yeah, so we are rolling again this month for It Gets Better, organization helping the at-risk LGBTQ plus folks. And it's a worthwhile organization worth your dollars and mine. And when I say your dollars, I mean emphasis on your dollars because I've rolled a 3. So I have not. That happens sometimes. I need you guys to back me up. Roll some dice.
Yeah.
It do be random.
It's the 1 through 20. But
Yeah.
you help me out.
You out there.
That's a good one. So,
I'm talking to you.
you specifically, you know who I'm talking about. Don't look around. So that said, we're gonna move into the dad joke portion of the episode ending. And Shane, this is not traditionally a 2-parter, but I'm gonna break it up to give you an opportunity to slam dunk it.
Thank you.
So what I'm gonna say is, I don't really know why everybody complains and moans and says how difficult it is to go to sleep.
It's easy. That one's tricky.
It's so easy. I do it with my eyes closed. Yeah. Tevin, assemble.
Rest in peace, boiling water. You will be missed.
That's good. Avon!
Why is it a bad idea to iron your 4-leaf clover?
Because it'll burn. Not a good answer for that.
Why is it a bad idea to iron your 4-leaf clover?
Yeah.
Because hold on.
you'll press your luck.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I was going.
There
Yeah.
you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Someone curse out Avon. Go ahead.
Oh,
Shane.
that's my D, Avon.
Gross.
It's sign our documents. It's a legal thing.
Did you know it's like what I do? It's inappropriate to make a dad joke if you're not a dad. Makes you a faux pas.
It makes you a faux pas. I knew that one. That's a good one.
I don't know where I heard that the other day, but it was very good.
Yeah.
It's a faux pas.
I ain't nobody's daddy.
That you know of.
Daddy.
That you know of, yeah. You could
That I know
be
of.
somebody's daddy out there.
Avon, papa? My papa? Avon?
If you haven't watched the Chris Rock stand-up, if you like Chris Rock, it's right up your alley. If you don't, it's okay. But he has a joke in there where he talks about if his dad ever turned into a woman, like Kris Jenner, that his oldest brother would have a problem. And he goes, and me, I'd have to get in front of his face and say, hey, be respectful. She is your daddy. And that made me laugh very, very well. And then you just made me think of it. Yep.
Oh, how the turntables.
Hot
Devin,
damn.
What?
as we always say,
I swear it was lighter last time I saw it.
we love
Love
you.
you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.